Hello, friends. I think it's no secret that one way or another, we all judge people and the world around us by their appearance. As soon as we see a person in dirty clothes on the street, the first thing that comes to mind is that they must be a drug addict or a thief, or at the very least, a sick or an extremely lazy person who doesn't want to change their life. I think it's hard to argue with that. Still, as sad as it might be, there are moments in our lives that force us to take a look at our surroundings in a completely different way. It can happen to anyone, even people who have already seen a lot in their lives. Injustice, lies, betrayal. It certainly is difficult to surprise them. Difficult, but still possible. And that's exactly what our today's story is about. It began back in the mid-90s when a famous millionaire named Ken Behring had to go on a business trip with his bodyguard to one of the poorest and most dangerous neighborhoods of San Francisco. Behring was over 60 years old at the time, and he was far from just another regular person. He's been included in the US Forbes list every year since 1991. Many admired his biography since he was a son of an ordinary cleaning lady who managed to become a millionaire by the age 26 and whose road to success was filled with struggle and back-breaking work. I don't even think I need to tell you what he had to go through to get to his position. He was a smart, calculating, and cunning man. Life has taught him not to believe in fairy tales. This trip was also no accident. Behring had long wanted to build a shopping mall in his neighborhood, which is why he went there to find the right place. He had to put up a real fight for the land, and when all the details were finally agreed upon, he decided to take a little walk along the coast and get some fresh air. It took him about half an hour, after which he got into the car with his bodyguard and drove to the expensive hotel he was staying at. And we'd probably have never heard about any of this if it wasn't for what happened next. Arriving at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, the millionaire discovered that his wallet was missing. It was in my jacket, but when I was about to get my VIP client card, I was surprised to find that it wasn't there, the businessman once shared with journalists. He later remembered that during his walk, he took the jacket off and threw it over his shoulder. That's probably when he lost the wallet. Sure, it wasn't a big deal for Behring, even though there were many credit cards in it and about $3,000 in cash and some business cards. He didn't have any problems checking into the hotel, but the question was, what to do next? I was just wondering how the events were going to develop. I remember my bodyguard offering to go and try to find the wallet, but I asked him whether he actually believed that a wallet lost in the poorest neighborhood of the city would still be there. The bodyguard simply looked down, realizing that it was a hopeless undertaking. "So what should we do next?" the bodyguard asked his employer, to which Behring replied, We wait. We wait for the person who found my wallet to contact me." They spent the next 2 hours waiting. The bodyguard was restless. After all, he knew that it was partially his fault too. The millionaire was enjoying the view and calmly waiting for the call, but the phone didn't ring. 2 hours later, the disappointed bodyguard said, "Sir, I think there's no point in waiting any longer in hopes that the people from the poor neighborhood will call us. Let's be honest, what else could you expect from them? It might have been different if you'd lost your wallet downtown. There'd be at least some hope that people would recognize you and decide to return it. The people living there are rich, unlike here." But to his surprise, Ken said, "We'll wait." So the bodyguard went on to sit quietly in a chair. So came the evening. It was time for the millionaire and his faithful bodyguard to leave San Francisco. The sun was already setting over the horizon when the bodyguard approached Ken Behring again. "Sir, are we going back today?" Ken only said, "No, we'll wait." Of course, the bodyguard was very surprised and didn't understand why his boss still hoped to receive that call. It all seemed obvious to him. He even tried to object, saying, "But the person who found your wallet could have already contacted you. All your contact information is there, and it would only take them a few minutes. It's obvious that this person isn't going to return your wallet." "Perhaps," said the millionaire, adding that they will stay the night anyway. So, the day changed to night, but the next morning, to their mutual surprise, the phone rang. The voice on the other end said that he had found the wallet and wanted to return it to the owner, and offered to meet up on one of the streets of that same poor neighborhood. Of course, the bodyguard was very suspicious. The only thing that came to his mind was that the person on the other end could be a common that realized whose wallet it was and now wanted to lure Behring out. And he had every right to think so. After all, the bodyguard's job is precisely that. ensuring his boss's safety. So, even though they didn't know who it was, the millionaire decided to go there and tried to get his wallet back. He smiled at his bodyguard, saying, "I have you, so I've nothing to be afraid of." And so they went. As the appointed time was getting closer, they got into the car and drove to the meeting place. As the businessman said later, "I was probably ready to see anyone there. A single mother, an old person who'd ask for money in exchange for the wallet, maybe even a young bum." But what happened next was truly unexpected. When they arrived and got out of the car, they didn't see anyone waiting for them, except for one boy, about 10 years old, who was hanging out near the phone booth. After waiting for some time and seeing that no one was approaching them, the millionaire decided to ask the boy if he'd seen anyone there. But as it turned out later, it was him who had found the wallet. Looking around warily, the boy took out the millionaire's wallet from under his t-shirt and gave it back. Ken's bodyguard decided to check the insides of the wallet. When he opened the wallet, he was truly shocked, to say the least. All the money and cards and other contents were there. Not a single item had disappeared. This turn of events impressed the millionaire so much that he decided to thank the boy. So he asked the boy what he wanted for a reward, and the boy's reply struck him even more. "Could you please give me $1? "Why just one?" the bodyguard asked, smiling. "The thing is that I didn't have the money to call you. Yesterday, I couldn't find any, and only today, the vendor from the store across from the dollar booth gave me $1 so that I could make this call. Now I need to pay him back." It is worth noting that it's still unknown how the trio said goodbye to each other that day. But one thing is well known. Kenneth Eugene Baring never built a shopping mall in that neighborhood. And you'll probably ask why. The answer is very simple. He built a school for the poor instead. But this is still far from the end of the story, since it became widely known only many years after the incident. When Baring himself shared it, it's probably where the credit's due for his change. The millionaire, who passed away in 2019 at the age of 91, is remembered by millions of people as a millionaire philanthropist. He spent $80 million on the Smithsonian National Institute and Museum. He used his own money to build several schools in poor neighborhoods and to pay scholarships for students from poor families. In 2000, Baring also donated $7.5 million to expand the University of California and create the Kenneth Baring Center of Educational Improvement, focused on training programs for public school principals, providing scholarships to 50 aspiring principals every year, for which the University of California even awarded him a Chancellor Citation in 2001. But even that's not the end. He also founded the California Wheelchair Foundation in 2000 to provide free wheelchairs to people with physical disabilities unable to afford them. As of September 2013, the Wheelchair Foundation had donated over 940,000 wheelchairs in 152 countries around the world. In 2005, he also founded a nonprofit group working to support safe drinking water around the world. In a 2010 interview, he estimated having donated between $200 to $300 million, saying that he was no longer interested in money, since there was something much more important, which he learned on the streets of San Francisco. As for the boy, unfortunately, we don't know how his life turned out. But something tells me he's doing fine, and the millionaire hasn't forgotten about him. Well, this story shows us that sometimes even the simplest actions can change someone's life, warming the stone-cold heart, and thus causing the ripple effect that would later alter the fate of millions of people around the world. So, guys, this is our story for today. Let us know what you think you'd have done if you had found that wallet, or if you were the millionaire in this situation. And that's it for today. Rate our video if you liked it, and see you soon. Bye!